All right, everybody. We are starting to wrap up 2023, but we have a much needed, I guess, market update. If anybody needed an update, I guess this would be a good one, especially for those involved in the junior mining sector and the Canadian exchanges. Happy to welcome in CEO technician Rob Sinn. Rob, I'm hoping you can kind of help us lay the land here. And you and I were kind of joking before of that meme from The Hangover when they're all in the car singing that they're back. I mean, is this pivot real, and is the junior mining sector and the precious metals sector back after
We're
one
so
day?
back.
I mean,
We're so fucking back.
We are back.
We are back. One day.
Oh my gosh, one day.
I mean, in all seriousness, though, yesterday was a very important day. So if you're a technician, you go through the gold stock charts last night, like I did. You've got a breath thrust like no other. You've got a lot of mid-tiers up 10, 12% in a single trading session. You've got the super heavyweight senior producers at 5, 6, 7% on the day. And this is coming after gold stocks dropping 7 days in a row going into yesterday's session. So when you see that sort of a U-turn, like the market was thinking one thing and then something entirely different happened, that's when you should pay attention. You should really pay attention as a market participant. There's a lot of days that I don't think long-term investors really need to pay attention to the market, and they shouldn't. But yesterday was one of those days that everybody should pay attention and take note of. So, it's like the Fight Club thing. Like, if you're in Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club. I feel like I'm gonna try to stay as calm as possible here today and not get overzealous and over bullish for the junior mining sector in 2024. But the stars are aligning. I think this is a very nice setup here, especially like today. We're just at the end of tax law season. Year end, we know that we usually get a lift in the final week of the year after the tax loss selling is done. So we're getting closer to that. And then just the fact that suddenly we're looking at a Fed that's done. Mm-hmm. And whether it's 3 rate cuts, 4 rate cuts, 5 rate cuts, or 6 rate cuts coming in 2024, we are at the start of an easing cycle, a big easing cycle.
Okay, so let's take this from there, Rob, because this is where my cautious optimism starts to kick in. Obviously, after yesterday, the dot plot, if you like to follow the dot plot, has 3 rate cuts kind of starting to price in mid-2024. And obviously, gold is seeing this. Gold equities are seeing this and starting to move with that momentum. And there was a couple of people on Twitter yesterday that took that idea of even like 150 basis point cuts expectations, which the market has priced in for next year. And that size of cut throughout the year typically only happens when economics are really, really bad. And if the economics are really bad and the stock market is really bad, gold equities are not going to be the outlier. They typically follow the risk on or risk off mood. So, like, I'm with you. Let's enjoy this, but we need to have some patience, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. So I think what you're saying is the market has leaped far ahead in pricing in rate cuts. Yeah, and I sent out in my morning email, I showed that chart where before yesterday's meeting, the market was pricing in 3 cuts. The Fed was saying 2 cuts, or some people were saying not even any cut. And then suddenly in one day, we go from pricing in 3 cuts to pricing in 6 cuts. So the net result of whatever the Fed did and said yesterday was 75 basis points of more easing was priced into markets. Hence, you get gold at $50 an ounce. You get copper up 3%. You get the NASDAQ just absolutely tearing shorts to pieces. That's a lot of easing pulled forward. So I agree with you. And I feel like we're going to be like 2024 is going to be a year where each Fed meeting is like, will they cut at this meeting or will they put it off to the next one? And so it's going to be just about the pace of easing. It's not going to be about whether the Fed is going to start cutting rates. It's going to be what is the pace of it, you know? And today we get a bunch of, you know, research notes like Jan Hatzius from Goldman Sachs says they're going to front load the cuts. There's going to be a cut in March. There's going to be a cut in May. There's going to be a cut in June to get the Fed funds closer to the 2-year note yield. Now, if that's correct, well, I mean, it's going to be a good start to the year for the precious metal sector.
Yeah. Okay. So how are we playing this? I mean, I think it was just 3 days ago, you put out an email in your morning notes saying why you were buying gold miners. What a call. Great call. What were you seeing? Yeah. So what, give us a sense of what you are buying. Are you starting to kind of pick at those major mid-tier producers? We haven't seen the big move in the juniors yet, but again, it's literally only not even been 24 hours. So
stocks that I bought this week: Core Mining, IM Gold, IAG, and Vizsla. Right now, I'm already pretty long, so I'm already long bias. Period. But for me to add even more exposure, and then to even larger companies, means that I'm turning pretty bullish and pretty positive. And so what was I seeing on Monday morning when I sent that out? I mean, I saw a bottom happen in November. And then I saw things accelerate very quickly in the final week of November. And then we had that crazy Sunday night, you know, futures short squeeze action. And then suddenly the GDX dropped 6 days in a row and everybody was negative again. And I'm like, no, that's not the top. That's not the top. And in fact, the GDX went up 14% and then dropped 7%. So it was a 50%, you know, retracement of the move, which is standard technical analysis. I mean, it's standard price action. And even if you look at gold put in a major low in early October at 1823. We go to 2152, so that's $330 an ounce move. That's an enormous move. And then we get a perfect 50% retracement to 1988. I mean, literally do the math. It was to the dollar, 50% retracement. So Monday morning, I was buying gold futures, the February futures at 1992. I was buying the GDX. I was buying calls on the GDX. And then yesterday, towards the end of the session after 3%, I took some profits because of just the magnitude of that, you know, of that move. But bigger picture, I think, and you know, this is the point I want to make. I'm going to be trading, doing my thing, but I think somebody could buy a handful of gold miners here today or yesterday, even better, and just go away for a month. Just go away for a month. Like, don't over focus on it. If we have a 1 or 2% down day, don't freak out about it. Just go away for a month, go on vacation, turn it all off. I know nobody's going to do that, but I think that would be a pretty solid move right here. I don't think we need to overthink this next month. I think be long, sit tight, and be right.
Okay. So let's talk about trickling down into the juniors. What are you seeing in the exploration stocks, if anything, yet?
It's early days in exploration stocks, and actually it's a very mixed picture where you have some stocks definitely showing that they've bottomed and starting to move up, and then you've got others just getting hit still by tax loss selling. So it's a very mixed picture, but I'm really optimistic. And again, that whole Fight Club thing, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm optimistic going into next year. I mean, I look at some of the companies that I own. I'll just throw out, like Endurance Gold. Okay, I'm biased. The company's a sponsor of my site, so just throw that out there. They put out great news on Wednesday morning. Take a look at it for yourself. Core Assets. I bought that one the last week. They put out great news here, this morning. Even like a dog in my portfolio, like Ridgeline, I'm optimistic for Big
Hmm.
Blue in 2024, and I just look at the valuations here. I'm just like, well, you know, they've got, option and JV agreements with Barrick Gold on multiple projects. They've got a lot of ways that they can generate value for investors in 2024. And all these companies are doing good exploration work and they're advancing their projects. So we look at where valuations are at and where we are at in the bigger picture cycle, which I think we're at a trough and starting to move up. And then these companies can make, new discoveries in 2024. And that's the nirvana, right? Like that's the magic. You get that,
Hmm.
drill hole, like a big, and you get that 5x move, right? Like that's what we're all after in the sector. And so I'm pretty optimistic here.
You've talked a lot about precious metals. Let's talk about base metals, specifically copper. It's having a pretty good day today, bouncing a nice rebound. But a lot of these copper equities, the exploration development ones, are still kind of beaten up. Any sense of where this base metal complex goes from here?
Great question, because that's a lot trickier with monetary
Right.
metals like gold and silver. It's usually just simpler to analyze it based upon where we're at in the monetary policy cycle, and everything is pointing to we're at the beginning of easing around the world. It's not just with the Fed; it's globally. So that's a lot easier to call. Famous last words. But base metals are trickier because we've got like China slowing down, trying to stimulate their economy, but it's not really working that well. The picture in the U.S. economy in 2024 is much more convoluted and harder to gauge exactly how it's going to play out. But if we just talk like base metals like copper and nickel and zinc, and in the junior mining side of it, I think one of the themes that's going to happen in 2024 is like focusing on good jurisdictions. So North America, Canada, and the US. And I think all the things we've seen in Latin America in 2023 are just going to pull money away from those projects and bring them back to the safe jurisdiction. Yes, it's higher cost, but look, we got rule of law. We know exactly what we need to do to advance a project in the US or in Canada. You just do those things. It might take a little longer, it might be more expensive, but at least you still got your project and you won't
Yeah.
have it suddenly taken away from you. So I like Arizona copper assets, or in Idaho copper assets. I think that's going to be a theme because the secular bull market in copper, it's not going anywhere. It's just a matter of the timing of it. So I think if you focus on good projects, good management teams in North America with quality copper assets, I think you'll do well over the long run.
All right. All right. So I guess December 13th, 2023, a day that will live in infamy for for metals investors. Rob, what else are you watching here? I mean, it seems like the Santa rally is upon us. Things continue to move higher. The stock market, although off its highs today as we talk, are still higher than where they were yesterday after a massive move. What are you watching here in the next final weeks of 2023?
Well, I mean, I think generally things start to slow down, right about now, and then they keep slowing down until the end of the year. And then as people slowly start to come back from holidays in early January. Um, I like where my portfolio is right here, so I don't see myself changing a whole lot of things. I have my, core, list of companies, that I follow. One of the other themes that I like heading into 2024 is biotech, and more specifically, the medical psychedelics subsector of biotech. So that's another theme for me. Heading into the new year, company that I really like in that subsector is called Cybin. They're listed in the U.S. CYBN. I'm long that stock. I mean, aside from waiting for news from a few companies that seem to be taking a little longer than expected in terms of assets, I think the final couple of weeks of 2023 should just be spent, with the family and, enjoying life. And let's be grateful that we got through this 2023. And from the junior mining side of it, it's been 3 pretty challenging years, starting in 2021. So there's a lot to be grateful for. And it's time to be a little bit optimistic again, because we're coming to the end of the year.
All right. I absolutely agree with you, Rob. Hey, take some of those gains you just made, buy your mom a nice Christmas present, okay?
Yes. Yeah, I'm actually going to visit her at the very end of the year. So I will do
very
that.
Good.
Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's what friends are for, to remind you to do good things. All right.
But by the way, I might bring her this as a Christmas present. So this is a 10-ounce silver bar. So the last time that we did an episode, I showed a platinum coin.
Yeah, you did.
So, silver. That's the theme here as we start this easing cycle. I think silver will outperform gold. So give your family some silver for presents.
There you go. I actually have been thinking about doing that, Rob. So we're thinking alike here.
Yeah.
Maybe not 10 ounces. I was thinking maybe an ounce. But. All right, Rob. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, man.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks so
Trevor.
much.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for all the time you've given us this past year, and we'll do it again a lot more in 2024.
Yeah,
all right, everybody.
Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, I love doing this, man. I'm also looking forward to this 2-week break, though. All right, there's more coming up here later today, everybody. Do stay tuned.